oftentimes, if not all the time, people watch what you do more than what you say. So trying to discipline your child in a way that you yourself haven't mastered most times has the opposite effects. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is your first time here. My name is Daniela Agofri, and I make self-development videos that are tied to your faith, because this is a faith-based channel. And if that's something you're interested in, subscribe and let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, I want to touch on one or two things before we jump straight into the video. I've had some time to reflect on the past couple of weeks on my move here, and I had to be honest with myself that a lot of the videos that I have recorded in the past, I fell under this umbrella of people pleasing. I didn't want to post something that would not be socially accepted. I didn't want to offend anybody. I didn't want to be dragged or called on social media. But I had to overcome that and realize that in order for me to be able to reach the people that I want to reach, the people that would resonate with my videos and what I have to say and what the Lord is leading me to say, I need to be able to break barriers. I need to be able to overcome. Okay, it doesn't matter if everyone likes my video. It doesn't matter if everyone agrees with what I'm saying, as long as I'm being honest and truthful to myself, right? So a lot of the videos that you will see in the next couple of weeks are going to be topics that I've probably touched on before if you've been following this channel, right? So yeah, that's it. So let's get straight into the word now. So for today's topic, we're going to be talking about the responsibility of influence, right? And this is something that I've touched on before. And yeah, when the Lord laid this in my heart, and the more I started to press in and pray about it and to study about it, I realized I was coming from the place of parent and the responsibility of being a parent, which is something that I feel like strongly needs to be addressed in today's society, because it's not enough to just be a mother, a father. Okay, yes, you have a child. There's a responsibility that comes with that role, and this literally comes with a lot of things: how you carry yourself, how you discipline yourself as a parent, right? Because a lot of the issues that we have today most of them stems from the home. It stems from you trying to discipline your child in a way that you yourself haven't mastered, and it just ends up having the opposite effect, right? Because oftentimes, if not all the time, people watch what you do more than what you say. So trying to discipline your child in a way that you yourself haven't mastered most times has the opposite effects, right? And this is something that is lacking, because you just feel like, okay, yeah, I mean, I'm a grown adult, I can do what I want to do, but you want to tell someone else, a child, to do something when you're doing the opposite thing. It doesn't just work. You can't be telling your child to be disciplined in certain areas of their life. Okay, they should be moral when you yourself are not moral. They should wake up early and do X, Y, and Z when you yourself haven't mastered the art of disciplining and being frugal or whatever it is that you might struggle with, right? So we need to first understand, as parents, you need to be able to discipline yourself. You need to hold yourself accountable, right? Even the Bible says that no discipline seems pleasant at the time, right? But at the end of the day, it produces fruit. I'm just paraphrasing. I mean, I'll leave the scripture somewhere on the screen. So that is one of the things I wanted to touch on in today's video, right? When it comes to just being a parent. And also, as parents, we need to understand that yes, you are this child's father or mother, but you also need to understand that you are a steward over that child's life. This child is first God's child before they are your child, right? When the Bible talks about, I come in the volume of the books that was written of me, that's literally, like, it literally means that in heaven there is a preordained destiny over every single human being, including a child. There is something that God has seen about them. There's something that God has said, has spoken over their lives, and it is your responsibility as a parent to steward that child in accordance with what God wants for them in accordance with what God has destined for their lives, right? But are not sway them to what you want to do, what you perceive as right? Because even the Bible talks about how our heart is deceitful. So really, you might believe that as a parent, and I want to believe that most parents, I want to say all, but I know that some people have, like, I don't know, some parents are just very questionable. But anyways, I'm not talking about that. I want to believe that most times, right, when as parents we do certain things, like, okay, you want your child to study a particular occupation, you want them to marry a certain person from a certain tribe or from a certain place, is genuinely coming from a place of love because you want the best for them. But really, that might not be what God has in store for them. And when you press so hard in a certain area on something, right, it usually ends up having the opposite effects, and it's usually negative. So you're pressing so hard for your child to marry maybe someone that is evil from the same tribe as you, or someone, I don't know, whatever tribe you're from, or to study a particular course, and this child is just like, I feel led to do something else, I feel disconnected, I don't connect with what you're telling me to do, right? You end up having a rift with that child just because of that, because you're so stuck on your ways, right? And this is something that I see that parents often do when things do not go your way, when things do not align with what you have envisioned for that child in your head. You end up, would I say, isolating that child. You end up at because it's not discipline really. Discipline often has a productive result at the end of the day. Like even the Bible talks about when it disciplines you, yes, it's not pleasant, but at the end of the day, it produces a fruitful outcome. But when you really think about it, most times when you've told your child not to marry a certain tribe, to marry the tribe that you have in mind, that you desire, and they marry this person, most of the times it ends up in divorce. It ends up with you and your child being disconnected. It ends up with you and your child just disagreeing and not being close. So you need to sit down and really reevaluate your actions. Okay, was this coming from a place of love, or was it coming from self-interest, like personal gain? Right? Because at the end of the day, you don't know it. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. You do not know everything. That's why you constantly have to rely on God's guidance, even as a parent, especially as a parent, because you're responsible for an entire human being, for how their life is shaped, really. So you really have to take a step back and be like, okay, Lord, how do you want me to navigate this child's life? What are the things that you have in store for them? How do you need me to go about communicating with this child, disciplining this child, and just bringing up this child in the ways of the Lord, and how they should show up in society? Because the things we can see is really limited. What we can see is limited as human beings. So when you're so adamant, you're like, okay, you know what, I want you to study this course, and your child is in med school and they're failing seriously, they're failing, like, you're just like, you know what, I'm not sure this is for me. And it's not because your child is not bright. Every single person has an area in their life that they will excel in, as long as you're in the right field. So the fact that you don't excel in medicine doesn't mean that you will not excel in another area. You just need to find what is for you at the end of the day, right? And it might not be the most conventional thing. It might be music. Like, really, there are musicians that make millions, more than doctors in today's day and age. So you can't not be stuck on your ways as a parent. Like, okay, you know what, this is what makes sense, this is what is socially acceptable, so this is what you should do, right? And you just end up having a rift between you and your child, and you end up isolating that child, and you think in your head it's discipline when really it is not discipline, because discipline does have a fruitful outcome at the end of the day. And this brings me to something else I want to talk about that I saw or personally experienced growing up, right? Is really lacking in homes. I want to say African homes, but I'm sure it happens everywhere. But I mean, I'm African, I'm Nigerian, so I would first be able to relate with my culture. Parents need to cultivate the habit of being able to apologize, of being able to say they're sorry. You wonder why people often struggle with ego, why they struggle with just pride, really. That's often because most times it stems from not growing up from a home where your parents apologize to you, and even now that you're a parent, you find it difficult apologizing to your child. You're like, okay, this is beneath you, why are you doing this? Like, oh, this child does not have respect. It's not a thing of respect, really. It's every single person has emotions, they have feelings. Even your child has feelings and emotions. So you should be able to apologize to your child when you do something wrong, when you hurt their feelings, when you offend them. Yes, you can offend your child, really. Even the Bible talks about do not provoke your child to anger. Like, it's literally scriptural. So God even knows that you can provoke your child to anger. So right, and I know this comes from decades of not experiencing this. So you're like, okay, I don't understand. My parents never apologized to me. Like, you even feel, you feel like it is weird, you feel like it's strange, you are prideful about it, you see it as disrespect. You see you having to apologize to someone that is younger than you as disrespect. You're like, oh, am I your mate? But there's really nothing like am I your mate in disagreements. There's nothing like am I your mate when it comes to offense. You can offend someone that is younger than you, right? And it is humbling. It shows that you are someone that should be respected when you can humble yourself enough to be like, okay, you know what, I actually see where I went wrong. I see how I hurt your feelings. I see how I offended you, and I apologize. I did not see it from this angle. I did not see it from this respect. So and just to like bring us to like perspective. So I was home the other day in my brother's house, and I mean, I was there with my son, and my nephews were there too, right? And they all have these balloons, right? They have their individual balloons, and their balloons are all different colors, right? Oh yes, their balloons are all different colors. So I had seen my son's balloon. My son's name is Roman, so I'm just gonna say his name, Roman. So I had seen Roman's balloon, right, earlier on in the week, and he has kept it somewhere. So I'm like, okay, this is Roman's balloon. Fast forward to a couple of days after, he gets into like this back and forth with his nephew. His name is Okay. So right, I'm not sure if I should. Anyways, yeah, he gets into this back and forth with his cousin. Sorry, he's my nephew. This cousin, with his cousin, right? And they're like going back and forth. Roman's like, oh, it's my balloon. Roman is like, no, it's my balloon. It's like, I'm like, what is going on here? So my brother steps in, right, and he's just like, oh, I mean, like, who has this balloon, right? His son, Okay, says, oh, it's his. And I was like, it's not Okay, it's actually Roman's balloon, because I saw this balloon earlier on in the week and it's for Roman. So my brother just like lost, like, what is going on here? He just walked away because, like, I mean, I have other things to do. Like, I don't know what to do about this situation. And I'm like, okay, it's not your balloon, like, So somehow Roman runs downstairs, and I don't know where he brings this balloon from. He brings out his balloon from where it was. I don't know if he forgot and he remembered that his balloon was somewhere else. And he brings out the balloon, and his balloon is yellow. Okay's balloon is golden yellow. I didn't even know there was such a thing as golden yellow and yellow. Like, everything just looks like yellow to me. So I'm just like, wait, so you mean this is not your balloon? You mean you have me out here fighting a battle that is not yours? Like, you have me out here defending you and fighting battles that is like, really this is not your balloon? And I take a step back and I said, like, okay, Daniela, what is the I don't know the word I'm looking for. What do you want to be remembered years from now? Do you want to, like, okay, do you want to traumatize this child that was actually saying the truth and you told him was lying? Essentially, I mean, not in those words, but you essentially made him feel like he was lying. Or do you want to apologize and say, okay, you know what, I was wrong. I genuinely thought that this balloon was not yours. So I then I'm like, okay, Roman, you need to go apologize to your cousin that it was not your balloon. I'm sorry for taking your balloon. I'm sorry for fighting you over a balloon that was not yours. That is not mine. right? And Roman does that, and I go to them like, okay, you know what, I'm sorry, I genuinely thought that this balloon was not yours. Like the colors look the same to me. Like I didn't even know there was such a thing as golden yellow and yellow. And this little boy goes further to correct me, like, yes, that is yellow and this is golden yellow. I'm like, you're right, you are right. You are right. So those are just little moments that I cannot confidently say that I experienced as a child growing up. An adult actually apologizing to me that, you know what, I'm sorry. No, if they would actually go further to shout on you, be like, I don't understand, why do people have the same balloon? Why do people have the same color of balloon? Do you understand? Like, because we're Africans, like that is how we handle situations, right? That is how we were raised. That is how we're taught. That is what is normal to us, right? So it really takes self-reflection. It takes humility, first of all, because you have to really humble yourself for you to be able to apologize to somebody who you are older than by so many years, which is something that we often struggle with. You're like, oh, I'm not your mate, I can't be doing. No, there's nothing like I'm not your mate. If you've hurt this person, you apologize, right? So yeah, you need to humble yourself. You need to let go of pride and ego, and yes, and be vulnerable and be like, you know what, I'm not perfect, I'm human, I can make mistakes, I can make mistakes to anybody, you know. So yeah, that is something that's, because I'm not sure if I should share the story. Okay, yes, I mean, it relates to what I'm about to say. I have a friend who I went out to the supermarkets, to the grocery store with one day, and something drops from the counter, and he was just picking it up and putting it back on the shelf. Like, we were just walking past and it literally just fell down. Nobody touched it, nobody, like, maybe it wasn't placed properly. And he does this, right? And an attendant comes to him, and the person is like, I don't understand, why did you drop it? It's like, can't you walk properly? Like, stuff like that. And he just goes off. He's just like, I didn't touch it. I was even putting it back for you guys on the shelf. Like, this is not my fault. Like, it fell on its own, and I was walking past, and I was like, okay, let me just do something good and put it back on the shelf. Like, he just went off. And I took a step back and I looked at my friend, who was literally reacting based on trauma, because earlier on in that same day, he had told me about an experience that he had with his father, where he was saying the truth about something and his father did not believe him, and his father called him a liar, right? So this boy is literally having this man is literally having a traumatic experience, right, where he feels like the same thing that happened to him when he was a child is happening to him as an adult, and I'm not going to take this. Yes, as a child, maybe I couldn't speak up, but now that I'm an adult, I would speak up when I feel like someone is falsely accusing me, right? And people think that, okay, you know what, these are not real problems. Like, trauma is not something that is real, but it is very real. Whether you choose to accept it or not, acknowledge it or not, it is very real. It's not part of life, because I've literally had someone tell me like, oh, you know what, all these things that people call trauma is part of life. No, it's not part of life. Yes, there are things that happen, but you accepting that, oh, you know, it's just normal. It's not normal, because that is when you end up exhibiting things that are from traumatic experiences and you don't even realize it. You end up bleeding on other people and you don't even realize it. You don't realize some of the things that you do are really a result of traumatic experiences from the past, but because you've refused to acknowledge it, because you've refused to work on it, you can't even work on something you've not acknowledged, right? It is showing up in you as an adult, right? So yeah, just things that you need to really take cognizance of as a parent. Yes, first of all, understand, I'm just going to recap the points I've talked about on this video. Acknowledge that, yes, this child has a preordained destiny in heaven from God about his life. So you cannot be so stuck on your ways as a parent that, you know what, you want them to go in a certain direction. So you're going to be adamant, you're going to be strong-headed about the things that you want to do, because yes, oftentimes they end up having the negative outcome. And secondly, you need to be able to understand that you're human. You could offend your child, and it is okay to apologize. It is the right thing to do to apologize, so that child does not grow up traumatized, and also because most times people who were not apologized to as children, they struggle, they have serious issues being vulnerable and apologizing to people when they've offended them. So yeah, yes, also you need to be able to discipline yourself. The worst thing you can do is trying to lead your child in a certain way of life that you yourself have not mastered. Trying to discipline your child in a way that you yourself have not mastered, because that is just hypocrisy. And this generation of children are very different. We're very outspoken, very, very aware, right? We're not, I don't know, I don't want to say the previous generation was timid, but maybe in the way they showed up in a lot of ways was a bit timid. But this generation is outspoken. When you've done something wrong, they're gonna tell you, right? So doing things a certain way, you have 5 wives, you're just promiscuous, you know, like even your child that is 7 years old knows that you are cheating on their mother, and you're growing up telling this child that they should do life in a certain way that you yourself have not mastered, telling your child to be disciplined in their work ethic when they see you not being the best that you can. Whatever area you might struggle with, you know, that's between you and the Lord. But you need to understand that you need to discipline yourself as a parent before you also tell your child to be disciplined in certain areas, because they are watching what you do. They are literally watching what you do. And that often has more impact on them than what you tell them to do. Like, when was the last time you listened to someone who told you to do something, even as an adult, and you look at their life and you don't see any fruits of it in their life, and they're telling you to do it? You're just like, what's this person saying? Like, what are you saying? Like, you're giving me advice about business, and your business is failing, your business is crumbling. You're going to look at this person as a joke. Yes, the Bible does tell us to honor our parents, which is what you're meant to do. You're meant to honor your parents. But this is a very hard truth. A lot of people don't have respect for their parents. And these are the issues. These are the issues, right? Yes. And I'm not sure if this is correct, but yeah, I don't remember anywhere the Bible talks about, you know what, you have to like your parents, but you do have to honor them. You have to honor them, because that is what you need to honor them, so your days will be long, so your blessings will not be blocked in heaven. But we need to realize that as parents, yes, your child might greet you in the morning and all of that, but the respect they show you, it doesn't just stem from, yes, you're older than them, you were their parents. You know, a large part of it comes from you just genuinely being the best you can be, being someone that is loving, being someone that is disciplined, being someone that is worthy of respect. In all honesty, I'm going to read it from the book of Proverbs. It says, a parent without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. So what is the scripture talking about in Proverbs? Like, a city broken into without walls, and it's a city broken into and left without walls. It's saying that even as a parent, you're meant to discipline yourself, right? Because you just can't be open. There's no safeguard around you, really. So yeah, those are the points. I think I listed 3 points, and yeah, if you feel like you can resonate with anything I've said, you feel like this video blessed you in any single way, please leave a comment. I want to know your personal experiences. I want to know your inputs. I want to know, yeah, what you have to share. And yeah, subscribe. Do not forget to subscribe and share this video, and like, give me a thumbs up. It really helps me. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.